My video Octagon Rules Over Pentagon has been banned in the US for obvious reasons, because Octagon and the Swiss really do rule over the US. Watch the Pharaoh show and Octagon the Empire of Darkness to see how the Templars founded Switzerland and the Swiss banks. The Swiss never really integrate when they move to another country and when they expanded to the United States. They kept organizing in their Swiss Vereins and secret clubs. Okay, you might want to say, then what about the Chinese in the Chinatowns, or the Orthodox Jews in their self-chosen ghettos? Well, these people look obviously different in their funny clothes and costumes, and you can pick them out from a mile. Whereas the Swiss look just like the majority of the American population, and therefore find no difficulties at all in hiding and infiltrating and taking over. And if you look at their numbers in Wikipedia, you can see for yourself that there are more Swiss in America than there are Jews and Chinese altogether. And some of these Octagon Templar Swissies even made US president, as Herbert Hoover and Dwight D. Eisenhower. And Herbert Hoover in 1929, who was president when the Swiss Bank of International Settlements robbed the American people blind on Black Tuesday, October 29, 1929. And this Swiss US president didn't do a thing to help the American people, who were starving. So you can have a look at it. Look for yourself, you know. It's all here. Governors and presidents here. Herbert Hoover, you can see when, and Dwight D. Eisenhower, and of course we got the other Hoover, a terrible man, Edgar Hoover. It's from the name Huber, Swiss. Their ancestors were named Huber, not Hoover. So there was Hoover, the president, yeah, Hoover, from the Swiss name Huber, and there is the other Hoover. Now there he is. There, J. Edgar Hoover. Also Swiss descent. They're all Swiss. They never integrated. They always kept faithful to the motherland, Octagon. And didn't give a damn about the American people. I mean, that's why J. Edgar Hoover killed John F. Kennedy, didn't he? John F. Kennedy wanted to do something about the Federal Reserve. I'll talk about that later. And the Swiss US President Herbert Hoover, Huber, had the American children starving during the Great Depression in order to prepare the Americans for war, while the US money was used to finance Hitler's war industry. See my film, The Swiss Templars Banks. And Mr. Hoover here even looks like the other Hoover, J. Edgar. You know, the Swiss always, they all look the same. So, yeah, so this one here is Herbert Hoover. You can all look it up in Wikipedia. So, there's some things about him here. So here you can read it all about Herbert Hoover in Wikipedia. Just punch it in Google. So this is interesting. The family background. Well, let's have a look. The Swiss needed only 6 months after their man Hoover, or Huber, was in the White House to execute the greatest robbery ever of the American people. The name Hoover comes from the Swiss-German name Huber, the name from his father's side, together with Burkhard. And both his parents were Quakers, of which you can see their Octagon logo here, just as the CIA logo and the almost like the NATO logo. And here once more the Octagon Quakers logo. And then, additionally, there was another Huber, or Hoover, don't know what to call him anymore, J. Edgar of the FBI, or the FBI. who was a Freemason, a pure Swiss member of OCTOGON of the Templars, and as square as a broomstick. That's why, when I was in the army, we used to call the FBI the faggot bunch of incest. And look how he looks like the other Hoover. This is the same family. You know, it's almost the same picture as Herbert Hoover, the guy who stole the American savings of the public on Black Tuesday in November 1929, with the Federal Reserve and the Swiss Bank of International Settlements. Well, look, it's the same face. It's family. I tell you, it's all. Well, anyway, the Swiss, they all look alike. They all look alike. Well, actually, there he is, the other one. I'm very bad with computers, you know. So maybe somebody else can draw a comparison and put the pictures together, a couple of pictures, so we can. So here's the other Hoover. Look, it's the same breed, same face. It's all in the family. Look, Herbert Hoover. Same. It's all the Swissies in power, believe me. And then here in Wikipedia, it's this chapter here, which is quite interesting. Early life and education. Well, let's have a look. Well, here it says he was Swiss German. I know Scheidlin, that's a Swiss name anyway. And Huber, of course. It says on the left, German Swiss descent. They're all Swissies. And there he is again, the Swiss Mr. Hoover. And I mean, this is the typical way they are. The way this man behaved, so secretive, and with his hatred towards others, and using the police and using the hierarchy of the system. It's so typical Swiss. I recognize the Swiss in it. And look at it, how he was serving, under which president he was serving. Well, of course, under John F. Kennedy, and in office. And there it says, where it says, I'm sorry, I couldn't find it, but here it says he served under Herbert Hoover, the other one. Mr. Hoover and Mr. Hoover. Well, what a nice couple, eh? Well, couple he was, yeah, he liked male couples, he did. You know, terrorizing us, normal, healthy people. OCTOGON and the powers of darkness use many homosexuals because through their sexual inhibitions and needing to hide it from normal people, homosexuals are very good at keeping secrets and smile. So here we can see J. Edgar Hoover, or Mr. Hoover, together with his boyfriend. But only queers would go out together and dress identically while holding hands, having their sexual appetite written all over their faces. They call it unisex. Nice, charming, isn't it? It's like dressing up for a ball. And here they are again, Mr. and Mrs. Hoover, or Hoover, whatever. And there again, like twins. It's so obvious, isn't it? You know, unisex. I don't want to know about the name of the vacuum cleaner with the same name. God knows what they did with that one. And there they are again, Clyde Tolson and J. Edgar, Mr. Hoover. Well, this is a silent code among homosexuals, like dressing up the same way, especially in a time, at the moment, in an era where you shouldn't let others know, you know. So they started developing secret codes like dressing up the same way. Well, it's so obvious, you know. So this is the homosexual code of those days, and still, you know, it's like dressing up for a party. What a cinema. You can probably look it up and dig it out, you know, in some of those gay communities websites or something, you know, like the dress code, you know. You'll probably find it, but I don't fancy digging too much in there. In it, you know, it's already appalling enough. And in the very same Hoover FBI style, in the motherland of Mr. Hoover, they even have the Swiss Pink Cup organizations. In the very same Octagon Templars tradition of the two Templars sharing one horse together and worshipping Baphomet. Well, I mean, this is Octogon, you know, so, well, Mr. Hoover would have loved this, or he knew it. Well, this is the symbol of the Knights Templars, you know, two guys on a horse, nice and warm, cozy together, just like Clyde Olsen and Mr. Hoover dressing up the same way. Well, they dressed up the same way as well, didn't they? Well, you can read some more in the Octagon Templars Pink Cup organization after Mr. Hoover's style in the motherland, you know. Yeah. And they even have a contact somewhere on this website with an email address and all that there, contact. Well, I mean, it's too much for me to do it yourself. And it's by these evil structures healthy, normal families get terrorized, as me and my family have to endure for 16 years. But we just want to raise our kids in peace. As if these sickos hate us, normal people, just as Mr. Hoover hated JFK incredibly much, just for being a good person. So, when Kennedy in his November 15, 1963 speech said, "There is a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I intend to expose this plot." And it only took another 7 days after until the Swiss Hoover and his pals from the motherland Octagon had him done. Kennedy couldn't expose the Swiss plot any further, but I will. And do save, copy, download and upload this film in haste, because they will ban and delete this document very fast. I think it was last year this guy here, he made this film J. Edgar about Mr. Hoover. I wonder if he would have made it differently, if I would have explained to this bloke here about Mr. Hoover's genealogy. Who knows? In order to help humanity towards peace and justice, I've put my life in great danger with this video. Please someone help. All banks are in fact Templars banks by the Swiss. So when Kennedy on June 4th, 1963 signed the executive order number 11,110 against the Federal Reserve in the hands of Octogon, they gave Swiss Mr. Hoover the order to execute the job, just as they murdered Wolfgang Umvogel in a Swiss torture detention center in 2010, and many, many, many more. Then Lyndon B. Johnson became president after the Swissies had put aside the obstacle, and LBD is a direct descendant of William the Conqueror, King of England, who was his 23rd great-grandfather. Yes, it's all fair aristocracy who rule. The old world order, and this is the new world order with their Freemason things. And the Templars are part of it as well, as I explained in the film Fair Aristocracy. You can all see how Mr. Hoover, or Hoover, both of them, was just as secretive and ruthless as the Swiss are. Really nothing leaks out, and they keep tight by the Swiss laws of silence, of OCTOGON. And because the Swiss and Mr. Hoover are as precise as a Swiss watch, also Robert Kennedy had to be terminated, together with a few other Kennedys. I wonder if his wife Jacqueline had put on her pink dress and pink hat to please Mr. Hoover on that very day on November the 22nd, 1963 in Dallas, when they killed the best president America has ever had. Only 2 presidents have acted against the Federal Reserve, and both of them hit the deck before their time, Kennedy and Abraham Lincoln. And now the only US president in the entire American history has dropped a couple of Swiss banks. Is he really trying, or is he just being pushed by some senators or something? It is highly suspicious though that he's on the Swiss list too. Well, here he is. See my video about this. So this is the Swiss Americans list of Swiss Americans in Wikipedia. I already showed it to you. So here's the other Wikipedia website about the Swiss Americans. Let's have a look at the facts, where they went to and when it started. So right after the Middle Ages, which officially ended in 1500, so from 500 to 1500, that's the Middle Ages, the Swiss started to come to America in the 1500s. And the first Swiss to come was Theobald from von Erlach. The name von, it means it's the aristocracy. So he was a nobleman of the fair aristocracy, whose family name I filmed in the Templars' castle of my video, The Pharaoh Show. And he told all his pals, just as the Swiss mercenaries did in Alsace, when they emptied the land of its inhabitants and killed them all and their children during the 30-year war, so the Swiss could settle down there. And they still speak a Swiss dialect in Alsace, France. Similarly, how they organized the murder of the Jews by their Templar Nazis. It was all Swiss made. So you can see where they went to. And let's have a look at some immigration statistics concerning the Swissies in the US. Before 1820, some 30,000 Swiss immigrated the US. Between 1860 and 1880, 50,000 Swissies. 1881, 1890, 82,000. Next 30 years, 90,000. After 1945, 25,700. Between 1961 and 1990, 29,100. Adding up to at least 300,000 Swiss Americans immigrating to the US. So considering California had 117,700 and Ohio had 86,147 Swiss Americans counting 2007. They must be in their millions today, maybe up to 20 million Swiss from a country founded by the Templars, not really integrating and going for the key positions of the American society and crushing the US values as Swiss Mr. Hoover 1 and Swiss Mr. Hoover 2 did, and millions of them transforming America into a dictatorship just as the motherland in the Alps. You can see some more facts here, and here. So many US cities were founded by the Swiss, as Sacramento, Pittsburgh and Denver. thus explaining the funny things going on at Denver Airport, with a massive amount of Masonic symbols showing the real identity of the place. So Denver Airport, here it says Zimmermann Metals, it's all Swiss. Well, no wonder, the New World Order is all Swiss and it's Templar stuff, that's why. And Denver was founded by the Swissies. These are proofs, folks. Denver Airport, Denver founded by the Swiss pharaohs. I told you so. It's them ruling the world, folks, and they founded Denver. So this is why there's a concentration of pharaonic stuff there. Wake up! These are the ones. Wake up! A whole forest of pyramids on top of Denver Airport. So this is the stone I showed before Denver Airport. Do you see the Templar symbol behind? The V there? And the first settler, von Erlach, I think it was in the Pharaoh show, and I think it was behind his name, family name, there was the same symbol. Do you remember? We'll go and have a look. And this too apparently is Denver Airport, so in your suitcase a little Swiss reptilian travelling with you. Well, charming, isn't it? The Swiss, just as their J. Edgar Hoover, or Huber, are very secretive people, full of hatred towards the world and other people, who after Black Tuesday, World War II, are still robbing the American people through tax evasion with their ruthless, highly criminal Swiss Nazi Templar banks, getting trillions of dollars from all over the world through tax evasion today. So it's not bank robbers robbing the banks, it's the banks robbing the people. And they're Swiss. The banks are Templar banks, all banks. There are no Jewish banks, it's all Templar banks, it's Swiss. Wake up, people. Yeah, Dwight D. Eisenhower, President, Swissy. Dwight D. Eisenhower was also one of them, from the Swiss name Eisen, meaning iron, and Hauen, to hit. The Swiss name for a blacksmith or a smith. So this is the Swiss list again here. So it's the Swiss list. There it is. And there are many more. See my other videos about the financing of Adolf Hitler by the Swiss. I don't want to repeat it here. Thus, the Swiss from OCTOGON having their agents on both sides. Adolf Hitler financed in Zurich by Swiss General Ulrich Wille from 1923 on, and the Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces during World War II, 5-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower, a Swiss. Here you can see him doing the Templars V symbol just as on Denver Airport, and just as the first Swiss immigrant almost in the Middle Ages into the Americas, von Erlach with the V symbol in its coat of arms. And then there's APIS, the Advanced Passenger Information System, with the double V, like Denver Airport, APIS, Advanced Passenger System. It's the Templars, boys. Well, no wonder the Allies had Switzerland get away with the Nazi gold without invading the damn place. No wonder the Allies did nothing about thousands of US airmen in the 3 Swiss concentration camps. See my video about that. No wonder all these young soldiers got sacrificed on 666 D-Day. See my video about Omaha Beach. No wonder the OSS, Office of Strategic Services, was tied with both hands concerning the Red House files, and no wonder the Allies under Swiss command never bombed the railway tracks leading to Auschwitz and other camps. Here you can see him with the double V symbol of the Templars. The tracks would have been such an easy target with no AA anti-aircraft flak, nothing. But Swiss OCTOGON was too busy filling their Swiss Templar banks with Nazi gold, ordering their Eisenhower Swiss OCTOGON agent not to interfere on that side of the agenda. Both Eisenhower parents were Mennonites who, as Anabaptists, massively left Switzerland for America. And so here we can see that we are so happy to die for them. Stop waging their wars. And think of Swiss sleeper agent Alex Jones with his Swiss logo and Templars V, and how they murdered the real deal Bill Cooper. It's the same V you just saw Dwight D. Eisenhower make. Templars V. There's a lot of disinfo in the internet about Alex Jones, that he's a Zionist Jew and all that, but he doesn't show any Jew stars or Jew symbols. No. He shows Swiss crosses and Templar Vs, never talking bad about Switzerland. And his middle name is Teutonic, Emmerich, meaning the leader or the Führer, just as the other shouter who got financed by Switzerland. Funny middle name for a Jew, isn't it? I don't give a rat's ass if you want to blame the Jews for it all, because I don't belong to them. But I do mind that the real enemy will slip away again, the OCTOGON Templars from Switzerland, and I do mind injustice and lies. By the way, Roland Emmerich, the famous Hollywood movie director from Germany, has the same Teutonic name, family name, as AJ's middle name. This is Templar stuff. This is as is V, and he's showing the Swiss cross on his logos as I showed in my other videos. Come on people, wake up, see the signs, see the proofs, look at the facts. So this is from my other video, you can see the title on top, and well, I mean, he's showing Templar signs, Swiss logos, the V's, and these are the facts. So this is what Alex Jones is all about. This is what he's showing. Look at the movie, look at this video, and you see more proofs of that. I can tell you of many more Swiss infiltrators who deliberately destroyed the US and American values, but the list would be too long. So for the moment I mainly stick with the two Hoovers, or two Swiss Mr. Hoover and the Swiss blacksmith, who so devastatingly betrayed the American people and brought misery to the world. Because you can all check it out yourselves, as these are solid proofs. And both Swiss Mr. Hoovers and their hideous crimes dealt with the Federal Reserve and the Swiss Nazi BIS Bank of International Settlements in 1929 on Black Tuesday and in 1963 in Dallas. The Swiss were in it every time. I am quoting JFK and his speech about the Swiss OCTOGON's secret societies and the enemy within, whom I intensively have revealed in my videos. Please, someone help my children.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit, to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
I revealed it for you, Mr. President. Mission accomplished, sir. Half a century later, from 1963 to 2013, taking exactly 50 years. Let's act now. Leonardo Conti was a Swiss and born in 1900 in Lugano, Switzerland, and died in 1945 in Nuremberg by his own hand while in captivity by the Allies, awaiting the Nuremberg trials for Nazi war criminals. His nickname was the Swiss Sadist, and he was an Obergruppenführer, which is the equivalent of a general. This Swissie was the Reichshealth leader, responsible for the murder and torture on hundreds of thousands of people, and maybe millions, and medical experiments on humans through the horrendous Nazi T4 program. The experiments by the Swiss sadists included cryogenics on living persons, thus putting alive humans into the freezer like a pack of fish sticks, and watch how they slowly die away. Forced sterilization on all sorts of, by the Nazis, defined subhumans like Russians, Jews, and most of all gypsies, which his fellow sadist Swissies did on a large scale until 1996, almost the year 2000, practicing eugenics on a very large scale in OCTOGON, Switzerland, on perfectly healthy people. Well, there are better articles probably, but most of them are in German by the gypsies themselves or other people. So this is, this is by Swiss Info. So this is not really, they don't say everything, like it was almost in the year 2000 when they stopped doing it. In the very same year of 1923, when the Swiss General Ulrich Wille, whom you can see here, started financing Hitler, the Swiss sadist became a member of the SA or Sturmabteilung in 1923. There's no doubt for me that he was here in 1923, the Swiss in Switzerland with Hitler, Leonardo Conti. And he had a very low National Socialist Party number, 7,225, and his SS number 3,982, being one of the very first and co-founder of the anti-Semitic newspaper Kampfbund, meaning Fight Union. And here we can see the Swiss equivalent of the Kampfbund, the Swiss Nazi newspaper of the Hitler era, their man. The Swiss was a Nazi from the beginning, and one of the most important ones, giving orders to millions and deciding over life and death, affecting millions. Well, this is what the Swissies love to do and exerts total power. So it says SS Obergruppenführer, means he's a general. His lovely mother, Nana Conti, who gave life to the Swiss sadist in Switzerland, was the Reichsmidwifery Supreme under the Nazi Lebensborn program. Well, it looks like the whole Second World War was a Swiss family business somehow, eh? And I don't know what you think about this picture here, but these two guys with a baby, we can see the same sort of pictures nowadays in the newspapers. The two guys getting married and dressed up in leather with a baby, doesn't it? The Swiss Templars have got their dirty little fingers in everything, and their Swiss fingerprints all over World War II and all the other European wars. Rudolf Hess knew this because he was there in Zurich where he studied, and he flew to England to warn the British people and got silenced by Hamilton and the aristocracy. How do these Swiss manage to look so innocent? You hardly see them. And look at his face, the left one. So innocent looking. I wonder how it's possible that these Swissies always look so innocent. How do they do it? OCTOGON of the Templars is the base of all evil, hiding in the Alps with its caves, snow, lakes and mountains. I'm doing this vid just 2 days before the show trial of the Swiss Nazi Justice Department of Bern under murder threats of the Swiss police, and while Swiss Nazis come, hit and physically aggress me and ring at the door to do so just before the trial starts. So here, that's where they rang. I was standing there inside. My children were there behind the other door here. They were crying, they were afraid. While all these Nazis standing around. Nice, eh? And they've been doing these things for 16 years. So, and I was standing here. And one of these guys with me was there, and then the others were standing there. This is like Nazi Germany, like in the 30s, or even worse. So, I was standing inside. See? There. Excuse me for the bad image before, because I've got a very slow card in here, which is probably not even 10 megabytes per second. So, sorry about that. And these Swiss make sure that all trial cases will never make it to the Supreme Court. So none of these terror cases against immigrants with intensive political backgrounds will ever see an international hearing, such as the Strasbourg-based Court of Human Rights. Thus, Switzerland keeping its clean face, which is very important for these very organized Swiss criminals who wipe their proverbial fingerprints, the very thing criminals do. And there's absolutely no one in this Nazi state who acts against these crimes against humanity, where Swiss left-wing socialist members are just pretenders and actually hide their equally extreme right convictions. And if an immigrant dares to criticize the Swiss and Switzerland, then these Swiss criminals make sure to enforce a mental stigma on the foreigner. Another punishment, an additional Swiss terror and humiliation to define free speech with some psychiatrical defect for intimidation, as this corrupt nepotist by the name of Dr. Kurt Kunz did to me, Sean Ross, in 2002 in the torture detention center of Amthaus, Bern, where they murdered many people. There's a whole list, and this guy collaborates with that. This is the Swiss way to get rid of a nuisance. They dragged me against my will to talk 2 times 40 minutes with this extremely dangerous personality who develops massive criminal energies. Together with his pal Jean-Pierre Vicari, etymologically a descendant of the Swiss Inquisition's Vicari Foranais and its Swiss guard of the Vatican. So this guy is a judge and a member of the Nazi Swiss People's Party. He's an extremely dangerous character and entirely corrupt, and is a nepotist as the other one. They're pals. So here is the word I was talking about, and Vicari, the first part of the word, that was the guy you saw just before. And he's a judge, just like his ancestors were the judges of the Inquisition. And they still do it today. And this was a Swiss invention from the first place, you know. It was Heinrich Kramer, Inquisitores, and Jacobus Sprenger, Inquisitores, who wrote the book The Witch's Hammer, the Malleus Maleficarum. And well, I got confronted with these evil guys here. So you can read it about the Inquisition. So this is really the center of evil here. It was a Swiss idea, and they're still around and still doing the same thing. So this guy, his name was Jean-Pierre Vicari, and he's a pal with the other criminal, Kunz. And I'm going to show you how this Kunz is related with the story of Mr. Hitler and another Kunz who was Hitler's dentist. Coming up. So this is Swiss nepotism and corruption. Here you can see this is Kurt Kunz, and he's related to a former SS doctor who also treated Hitler and and killed the children of the 6 children of the Goebbels family. There it is, in 2002. So he made this and there was an order of his pals. I mean, this is corruption, you know. This guy, he's doing standard, he's using standard letters, psychiatrical analyzers, and then he just changed the names, you know, and the places. Like, this is how they do it. This is corruption. So they did this in 2002 in the torture detention center Amthaus in Bern, the capital of this evil country and the base of OCTOGON. And they have a whole list of immigrants who had been murdered there. Real many. And this guy, he's part of that system here, killing people and terror. So this is in German about me. It says I'm crazy. Well, if you criticize OCTOGON, the base of evil, and the Swiss state, and about what they're doing, then you're crazy. It says I'm paranoid. You know, like paranoid means somebody is sick and sees things that aren't. So they want me And I have been living with this, you know, on my back like for, what is it, 12 years. Yeah, since 2002, 11 years. This is sheer terror. So not only the content of this letter is standard, which he uses again and again, he probably used the same thing like hundreds of times. I mean, this is not me. And they forced me to speak with this guy. In my life, I never ever had any reason to see a psychiatrist, you know. No way. So they forced me. He spoke with me like 2 times 40 minutes, that's all. And then he wrote all this. Well, this is how they do it. And if you dare as a foreigner to criticize Switzerland, well, then you're crazy. And as you know, I criticize Switzerland. I dig in the history. I wrote articles in international newspapers in Austria and Germany and France and here in Switzerland. I do this thing on YouTube. And if you do this, if you dare to do this, the center of power of the world, where all the Freemasons are being commanded, you know, get the orders through the Templars of Switzerland, well, then you get real problems. Then you're crazy. And they did this with a lot of foreigners, immigrants. There's a lot of immigrants telling me and contacting me, phoning me here in Switzerland. And they say, well, to me they did the same thing. And I can't see my children anymore. Exactly the same thing. And they make sure, you know, that every court case, it never makes it to the Supreme Court. Or, well, you don't even have to think about the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. They make sure it stays local and then destroy the person. So this is standard procedure, what they do with immigrants. Just as the text is standard. This is nepotism, this is corruption at its highest level. And there's nobody who controls this. Well, at least not in Switzerland. What do you think? Even the left wing here in Switzerland, they are right-wingers. As soon as you criticize Switzerland, then they turn out to be extreme right-wingers. I mean, the left-wingers are here. And you see, this Koens guy, yeah, he's doing that together with his pal Vicari, Jean-Pierre Vicari, also of the Swiss People's Nazi Party. And you might think, what a funny name is this, Vicari. Well, that is from the Vicari Foranais. They were the judges of the Inquisition. Well, nice, isn't it? Charming. And these guys, or their descendants, are still around and still doing the same thing as they did like 500 years ago in the Middle Ages. They're still around. Nothing has changed. Especially not in this backward country. Yeah, Koens. And this guy is related to a Helmut Koens, the SS, who was the dentist of Hitler and killed the children of the Goebbels children. Well, nice personalities, eh? Well, this is the base of evil, folks. This is Switzerland. It's all nepotism, corruption. They're smiling to the world, filling their pocket with Jew gold and Nazi gold and whatever they can steal, and of the US tax money, tax evasion, well, you just name it. So, please somebody do something. I think you will make a good show, Mr. Obama, if you could, you know, intervene here. Maybe we'll trust you again if you do that, eh? Okay? Here they wrote down, Bopu Tatswana. This is Swiss humor. I'm a South African. And they just make fun of somebody else's misery. This is what the state is doing. Ha ha ha. Swiss humor. You know. Because they have the real superiority feeling, these Swiss. They really think they are more than the rest of the world. You know, here's some more. Boputsabwana. Well, that's funny, isn't it? Hey? Swissies. And when they put me in the forced labor prison of Witzwil, they stole all my belongings and and all my money. They stole it. You know, the state steals. And they stole my computer, they stole our trailer, they stole my child. This is the biggest criminal mafia in the whole world. And this is what they do, you know, Boputsaswana. Well, that's funny, eh? Yeah. Just to make you feel small, you know, they're all laughing. And they do laughing about it, you know, you're standing there handcuffed and then they are laughing, eh? And saying bad things about an immigrant. That's what they do. It lies in the Swiss inhibition within their criminal characters that the whole of Switzerland is in fact infested by corruption and nepotism. I mean, look at their banks, what they're doing and what they did. Now, watch carefully the facial identity of this Swiss crook and compare that with this face here of another Dr. Kunz, by the name of SS Offizier of the most notorious German regiment of the 3rd Totenkopf Division. And this German war criminal from the south of Germany, near Switzerland, where they speak in Baden-Württemberg the same Alemannic dialect as in Switzerland, he has the same face, the same mouth, eyes and ears as the Swiss nepotist criminal doctor Kurt Kunz has. And they're definitely related and belong to the same Alemannic tribe that reoccupied the south of Germany after the 30-Year War from 1618 to 1648, when Swiss mercenaries, together with, and at that time much larger, Swiss Pope's Guard, murdered 20 million Germans, or 2/3 of the entire German population, as an answer to Martin Luther scrolls and the Protestant movement. So this SS dentist, Dr. Helmut Kunz, was born in 1910 in Ettlingen, Baden-Württemberg, in Karlsruhe, that's southern Germany, and peacefully died in Freudenstadt, that means the town of pleasures, in the Black Forest, near Switzerland, in 1976. So this guy was a Sturmbahnführer. What's that? It's probably the equivalent of a colonel. Yeah. Real bad character. From the south of Germany. The same face as Dr. Psychiatrist Kurt Kunz. Same nose. The same eyes, the same ears, the same mouth, the same Alemannic tribe. Well, these guys are related, I tell you. This SS doctor treated Hitler and other high Nazis. He poisoned the 6 small children of the Goebbels family, of Joseph Goebbels, the propaganda minister, in the Führerbunker in 1945 in Berlin. So here we can see the autopsy of Helga Goebbels. She was only 12 years old when this SS Dr. Helmut Kunz, Sturmbahnführer, murdered her without her consent. And this guy looks perfectly well like the other Kunz fella in Switzerland. The one I got confronted with in the Swiss torture detention center in 2002. Charming, isn't it? And as an SS dentist, Sturmbahnführer Helmut Kunz of the SS probably knew more about the Nazi gold taken from the teeth of concentration camp prisoners, which all went to the Nazi motherland of Switzerland, thus making their way back to Switzerland concerning the other Kunz fella, the one I got confronted with in that torture detention center in Bern in 2002. And I'll tell the world what you did, Swissies. You're not getting away with that easily, with this crime, Swissies. Do you hear me? Do you copy? I call this video Stop Gear, where bank safes are bigger than parking spaces for cars. That's the OCTOGON thing. Look what I wanted to tell you here. The Swiss are saving on about everything. You know, look at that. How are you going to get out from here? You know, look at that. They got big banks and banking safes. What are you looking at? Big banking safes. And they got small parking places. Well, if you've got a V8 like a US V8, you're never gonna put it here, you know. They're like saving on everything. Strange people here. We got big banking safes with Hitler gold and all things, you know, and very small parking places, you know. You're never gonna get out from here, you know. Jesus. Yeah, it was a setup. And as you can see, the bank safes of the Swiss people are as big to fit a car in there, whereas their car lots or parking lots are so small that you hardly can get out of your car. And here you can see the Swiss with their favorite pastime, counting their money over and over again and taking a bath in OCTOGON's gold. Well, you have to compromise somewhere to gain place for the huge Swiss banking safes and their secret deposits. This was Top Gear, Switzerland, the land of silk and money. Sorry, wrong picture. This is the rest of the world. Oh, where's my picture? Just a minute. Ah, there it is, thank God. The Swiss are back, here they are. So I'll do it again. This was Top Gear, Switzerland, the land of silk and money. So this is in Bern here, Switzerland, the capital of Switzerland. Here it says Anna Fyodorovna. She was married with the brother of a Russian Tsar, the Tsar Alexander I. But she got fed up with the climate in Russia, maybe the political climate, but supposedly it was too cold, so she came here to Bern in Switzerland, and before it was a monastery. But her real name is not Fyodorovna. Her real name was Juliana von Sachsen-Coburg. So this is where she lived. Yeah. Pharaonic stuff here. And well, who knows what has been there. It's gone, but something, you know. It all belonged to her. And this is where the Russian embassy is now. You know, it's still the fair aristocracy ruling. You know, the embassy, the politicians. It never ever changed, you know. And Juliana von Sachsen-Coburg, you know, like the English royal family, she was the niece of Queen Victoria of England, you know. They just come here and change their names, and afterwards she got the money of Tsar Alexander, you know, to buy this and to live here and to have a nice life and all this. It really is a nice place. He's next to the river Aare here. So while the Russian people were starving and their children dying, Juliana von Sachsen-Coburg, a German aristocrat, married to the Russians Tsars and to the brother of Tsar Alexander I, and a niece of the English royal family. You know, it's all the same. They just got the money from the people while children were starving. So that was just before the Russian Revolution, really. She died 1840 here. So let's have a look at the embassy then. So Switzerland is OCTOGON is a really important part of it all. And this is how it looked like before. Oh, there's even a sun hieroglyph in it. Oh, there it is, a fish and a sun hieroglyph. Or is it a fish? So here again the lion. It's not an animal that ever was here in Europe, in Switzerland here. It's the symbol of the of the royalty, the royal bloodline of the fair aristocracy, which the European aristocracy, they took over of the pharaohs. And this looks like papyrus. It does, sort of. The River Nile. And there's a funny door. It looks like the round circles the Jews had to wear in the Middle Ages and in Muslim countries. The yellow round circles. I mean, it all has a meaning. There are 4 of them. 2 crosses here. Yeah. There's another line at the other side. Look at the mouth. So on the other side of the house is a sun hieroglyph all over. The fair aristocracy in castles in the Middle Ages, they have this a lot. Yeah, they are the enemy of mankind. So most certainly the descendants of these ones are living here. So now I probably won't see anything here, but I'll probably see that later when I look at the video. What is in here? Looks like a bunch of 6s. Now what's that? Ooh, sort of a voodoo stuff, eh? Look, there's some pharaonic voodoo here. It's a sort of a reptilian coming out of her stomach here, from the back. I don't know what that is. Look at it. It's like on the 50 francs, franc bill, the money bill of the Swiss. Look at that. Yeah, some Swiss voodoo. What is this? Oh. Probably burning things here. Some real weird stuff coming out of the back here. That's weird, man. Oh yeah, look at the arms. It's a reptilian coming out of the back. See? You see? This is Switzerland, folks. It's the home of evil. The pharaohs. So this creature crawling out of the back of a human being is the very same creature we can see here on the Swiss 50 francs bill. Here where the high nobility, this is not the low nobility, where the descendants of Juliana von Sachsen-Coburg, Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, you know, like the English royal house. Real funny things going on here in the land of hatred, OCTOGON. And this reptilian crawling out of the back of a human being even has these 3 fingers or 3-toed hands, which are quite typical for reptilians, and well, you can see it on a chicken, you know. Yeah. So why on earth would a normal human being make something like this, you know? And this is also the reason why a lot of Masonic and hidden forces, they do the Masonic M gesture, which I'll show it to you now. Well, we can see it here too on some Babylonian stuff. You know, the typical 3 fingers as this thing crawling out of the back of a human being in OCTOGON, the home of the devil, Switzerland. It's probably Semiramis. Nice stuff, eh? And even human beings have it sometimes related to some former events or mixtures which is in their DNA and coming back, like sometimes as a regression. And some more. Here we can see the M sign. Yeah, there's a lot of artists, politicians and most of it all the aristocracy, or let's say the fair aristocracy, doing these sort of things. It's in their DNA. And sometimes, you know, this is called Mendel's laws. Sometimes it just comes back. And this is why this lovely lady here is doing the M sign as well, you know. It's also giving two V's, like in Apis, the protection of the Pharaonic Empire. So this is Ren Pédoc. And in France, La Reine Pédoc, she really had 1 or 2 feet like this. And she was very much related to a little people like Les Cagots. This one apparently really existed. Of course it's the fair aristocracy. And now they're the ones in power. There it says La Reine Pédoc, the Queen of Pédoc. It's etymologically of pied, doigt. And oie is a, or pas de doigt, it is a goose. So it means goose foot. And she was the queen of the goose foot. So here's the Fleur d'Alice. It's all the fair aristocracy. So this is La Reine Pédoc, who really existed. So that says the Queen Pédoc. It's an old book. And the Queen of Pédoc, the queen with the goose foot, she was very much related with a very special tribe of people. There were over 1 million in France. It's called Les Cagots. And you can see they have this, the leopard sign of the goose foot or the reptilian foot on their chests. This is a very old drawing from France. I already showed you this. Even one of Napoleon's generals, he was a Cagot. And well, there are even some pictures of them made in the 50s. And so this is why this 3-finger reptilian, it has 3 fingers crawling out of the back. Here you can see it, the 3 fingers. Typical reptilian sign. They're all wearing it here in the Middle Ages. And these people, the Cagots, they were missing some things in their organs, and they could only live in the mountains. Switzerland, you know, and here in the south of France in the Pyrenees, but they probably made it to Switzerland. So here, for example, is a picture of a Cagotte. So that's the female with an E. So if you want to look it up, it's only with without an E. Yeah, there were millions of them. Now they're probably mixed and went to Switzerland. So here's some more people from history doing the M sign. I just call it the M sign, but it is in fact Le Pédoc, the goose foot or the reptilian foot. I don't know who that is. Some English bloke, I think. Here the Pope giving the M sign, or the old Pope. A Mason doing the M sign. And who's this doing the M sign? I saw this guy before somewhere. Who is that again? Oh yes, of course, he's doing the M sign as well. Mr. Mason. And another Mason doing the M sign. Hello, you traitor. Another M sign. This is Joseph Smith, who invented the Mormons. Hello, Mr. Mormon. Well, we all know this fella here. Hello. And this is Martin Luther doing the M sign. The guy who invented the Protestants. Only he was part of the nobility, just as his wife Catharina von Bora. All nobility, aristocracy, just as this princess of the high nobility in Bern, Switzerland, and he invented the Protestants, you know, the Protestant movement, only to put people up against each other and kill the Germans by the Swiss mercenaries, by the way, and by a difference in religion, race, color of skin, or ideology, like communism against fascism. Their business is to put people up against each other. So he too is doing the M sign. And here's the monument for Martin Luther, an obelisk, which is a symbol of the Pharaoh domination. And so he's part of them. He was an aristocrat. So look at this picture here. I'm going to show another picture of it. So he's part of the gang, really. So here it is again, together with his wife, von Bora. They're all nobility, pretending to be a monk. He even had children. What a monk, eh? More like a monk, eh? And this guy hated the Jews very, very, very much. He even wrote a lot of things about it. As the whole of the aristocracy, they hate the Jews, you know. Look at the World War II. They were all von in the SS, killing Jews, and well, they are the pharaohs. I mean, it's logical, isn't it? The pharaohs. Of course, the pharaohs hated Jews. There's nothing new, and they are the aristocracy here in Europe, pretending to be monks and still doing the same thing. Nothing has changed, really. So this is the official Apis hieroglyph, just as the M symbol forming two V's. Here the two upside down V's, just as is in this old French car here, which is still being made today. And it is a symbol of Apis, the bull, and this is the symbol, symbolizes the protection of the royal pharaonic empire. And this is, to my opinion, one of the reasons that they give the M symbol. Of course, the pharaohs, it's all related, and the aristocracy and the Freemasons, it's all one thing, it's all related. And there might be a reptilian thing in it as well. They are so different from us, just as the Swiss are so different from other human beings. You know, very, very different. So here the two V's, just as in the M symbol. And this is the old French car, still being made today. And in those days, the means of transport was a bull as well. Yeah, it looks like a bull. Look at the two eyes here. It looks like a bull. You know, there. The French bull, the pharaonic bull. So the M symbol is also giving these two V's, and one of the V's is of course the Templar symbol. As they also protect the Egypt and the aristocracy and the royal aristocracy of Egypt. It's all related. The bull is a symbol of the protection of the and that's why a lot of police forces, they have it in their logos, armies, because it protects the Egypt and the pharaohs. The Templars did as well, 1V, etc., etc. So here we can see a painting of Anna Fyodorovna, as in feudal, Fyodorovna, you see, of Russia. And her real name was Juliana von Saxon-Coburg, and she's giving the hand sign, the Masonic M, as people call it, but it's actually Piedok, like in the Queen of Pedok, and which is a sign of the reptilians. But it's also forming two V's, like in the Apis pharaonic symbol, which is the symbol of the protection of the pharaonic empire. Which is the two V's on top of each other. So it says Anna Fyodorovna there, living in Switzerland. There's the Grail. Means our blood is here, our descendants are here. Some more reptilians on it, or what is it? And this is the house of Anna Fyodorovna, which was not her name. Her name was Juliana von Sachsen-Coburg, a niece of Queen Victoria. And we all saw the reptilian coming out of the back, didn't we? The fair aristocracy in Switzerland, related to the English Windsors or Sachsen-Coburg, married to the Russians, who were in fact Germans living in Switzerland. No, well, not real Germans, the old bloody pharaohs they are. Oh, so this is the grail next to the house. That means our seed is here. Well, you can see there, all the little babies here. You know, they're here, all right. This is the, you know, so, well, this is quite hard. Our seed is here. There it is. That's what it means. This is sort of a vesica piscis, you know, we stick together. All the rings, like the Audi car and the Olympic Games. I don't know what sort of a leaf that is. It all has a meaning. What kind of a bird is that? Probably an ibis bird of the pharaohs. It had to do with their descendants, I think, the ibis bird. Well, okay. And here again, of course, here's their house. The descendants are living here under other names, you know, they're incognito-like, but they're still the same. Of course it is. It's a very special hill. I've been doing some evil things, I can sense it. So, and this here is OCTOGON, of course, octagonal. The sign of the Templars. It's all here. Everything is next to the building. Just look around, it is the aristocracy. They're the ones who are doing it all to us. And we are their slaves. With the lions and grails and... So this is the Russian embassy, and Marco, that was the Swiss guy, one of those Greenpeace fellows, who was acting like for Greenpeace, sort of, for the New World Order against Russia. So this is all the Russian embassy. This is full of cameras. And of course, next to it, there's the Russian flag. Yeah. I think it's white, blue and red. And there is the house of Anna Fyodorovna, who was not that, but who was Juliana von Sachsen-Coburg, just right next to it. So, you know, the aristocracy is there. Or, as I know them, the fair aristocracy. Well, don't you think that this embassy here is not the fair aristocracy? It's still the same ones here. You know? And here they're coming out. There's a children's playground just here, where the Russians come out and play with the children. You know? So if there's any Muslims who want to drink a cup of tea with them, you know, you can find them here. So the Swiss actually, when it considers one of them, they organize. Here we can see they can organize, and very quickly. They even write these things on the wall here. You know, if it would have been something else, the police would have taken this away. But because it's one of them, they leave it here. But if it's about, you know, immigrants being tortured and stigmatized here in Switzerland, nobody does a thing. And I know this, you know, I've sent them thousands of letters and talked to people. They just laugh in my face. But if it's one of them, you know, they immediately react. Now this is Switzerland, all right. There's another door. So it's all part of the embassy. Look, another door. It's also like a castle. So, you know, this is the aristocracy. Nothing has changed. It's just the old world order was the feudal system of the aristocracy, and the new world order is their system of Freemasons and Templars. Because the second son and the third son, they also wanted to have some power, but it's still the aristocracy, it's still Egypt, it's still the pharaohs. Nothing has changed. They just put on another jacket. So there's Anna Fyodorovna. There's the river Are, which sort of represents the Nile for them. There must be an obelisk somewhere, and the water represents Isis. And this is the Russian embassy in Bern. Now, they're all together. It's all the same thing. The aristocracy, the fair aristocracy are there, and they are there everywhere. So there's the mansion, family of the British royal family, and here's the river Are. This is what the name is. It's related to the word elves, the fairies. And this is the river here. And well, if anybody reads German, you can read it. It's even in English. Mistletoe, a holy plant for the Celts, next to the fair aristocracy. So this is what the Elfenau looked like before, and look at the pond. It's not octagonal yet, it's round, because it was a monastery before, and then it was bought by the aristocracy, and they even took the energy, to make it octagonal on purpose. You see, it's round here, as it used to be. It's all on purpose. So it wasn't even octagonal in the first place. They were not satisfied with it. God knows what they did in there. And there it is again, with the river Are. No chemtrails. Well, here, look here. This is where I spotted the reptilian crawling out of the back of a human being. It's still it's their descendants of the high nobility. And why the nobility? Why do they, make a picture of a statue on like an altar of a human being, with a reptilian crawling out of his back, with the M sign and all that? Well, why did they get this idea? You think it's a coincidence? Well, and there it is again. The house, the mansion of Anna Fyodorovna is on the left hand side. And well, the fair aristocracy always chooses the best places for themselves, isn't it? Little paradise in OCTOGON. So here's the coat of arms of the Saxe-Coburg dynasty, who just had their mansion or palace next to the Russian embassy. Here we can see the Apis hieroglyph. You have to look at the two white ones, of course, and one of them is a symbol of the Templars. And the fair aristocracy is, in fact, they are more like Muslims with their pre-arranged marriages and all that. It's all Middle Eastern stuff here with their lions, an animal that never was in Europe. They're not European at all. Europeans don't do pre-arranged marriages, do they now? It's all pharaonic, it's not from here. They're more like Muslims than Europeans. They're not from here. And now they're sitting in the Freemasonry lodges and the politicians. It's still the same fair aristocracy. So this is her in Wikipedia, So this is not the lower nobility. This is not just a. This is the high nobility. You know, related with the Tsars, the Windsors, which are actually the her next relatives, like the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha family. It's all pharaonic, and yeah, she did the Pedok, the M sign, and her descendants are having a little altar with a reptilian coming out of the back of a human being, the same one they have on the Swiss francs. Well, charming, isn't it? Charming country, charming people. And well, Switzerland, OCTOGON is their base. It always has been. So this woman, she probably couldn't even speak Russian, because she was German. Well, of course she went to Switzerland where they speak German. She did. I mean, if she was really German and not just an aristocrat, she would go back to Germany, but she didn't, because Switzerland is pharaonic. Germany is German. The Swiss are not German. The French-speaking Swiss, they're not at all like the French. Oh no, it's as different as Japanese with an Eskimo. And the German-speaking part, well, they hate the Germans. They, you know, I know how they treat Germans here. And the Italian, except when they need them, though. And the Italian-speaking Swiss, they're not at all like the Italians. They're more Swiss-German than Italian, I tell you. So this is their home. When it didn't work out with the Tsar, she went back to the base where she could get protection and spend the rest of her life making little babies who nowadays put reptilians in the back of human beings. Evil things going on in the Alps. Hello, Isis. Look, it's Friday evening. All the fancy people there in their palace. Probably a Freemason gathering. Let's have a closer look, shall we? You want to? Shall I do that? Okay. Probably some upper class, fair aristocracy with that reptilian thing we just saw, the reptilian coming out of the back of a human being. You know, the upper class here. All have these gatherings, especially like Friday evening, you know, Saturday. Yes, Isis here. This is what they like. Oh, this is little Horus. There's Isis watching him. Yeah. With a pharaonic cloth. No women here would wear that, you know. And he's even sitting on the octagon. Look at it. That's the Horus Matrix. He's sitting on the octagon. And what's he holding? It looks like a canopy. The canopy is a vase where the pharaohs, they put their souls in. So that means we kill the man and, you know, we kill their soul. That's the Horus Matrix. Yeah. That's why we have all the wars. I mean, well, you don't have to guess twice what these people are there. We saw the reptilian before. And the Swiss are so cold. You know, having statues with reptilians coming out of the back. Oh boy. So unfortunately it's getting dark, so you won't be able to see it clearly, but I tell you, she's standing on a step pyramid. It's a pyramid, with several steps. I forgot the name of that. What you see? It's going on several levels. It's hard to see that. I thought she was standing on an oval socket. Well, there she is again, where her descendants are having a little altar, you know, with a reptilian crawling out of the back, and with the M sign on the fingers, and the world domination. And this is octagonal. Some more octagonal stuff. It's part of the castle there. The descendants. The castle is just behind here. The descendants of Anna Fyodorovna or Juliane von Sachsen-Coburg. Well, we know what Sachsen-Coburg represents, don't we? Hey, we know these people. They're everywhere. If you want to take an airplane to go and see the biggest 555 feet or 170 meters tall pharaonic obelisk in the world, and if you want to visit the land of total control and the New World Order, where they even have real pharaonic pyramids on their money and green lizard tails, then you need to have Apis, the bull and pharaonic god of strength and fertility, crawl all over your private life. And have this pharaonic bull stampede over your entire personality until all your dear privacy will be mashed into the dirt of the sheer weight of this pharaonic bull, Apis, and god of strength. They will eventually crush all human resistance and personal right. Welcome to the New World Order of the Pharisocracy and their Apis Advanced Passenger Information System, which will gladfully scrutinize your entire personality to see if the intel on your identity and everything that goes with it is fit to enter the promised land of the Neophars, or new pharaohs, that is. Except when you choose to be a wetback, then it's okay to just pass the Rio Grande, where there are relatively few Apis bulls. So here we can see the single V of the Templars, or the single V of the Apis bull. The hieroglyph has two V's. So the Advanced Passenger Information System of the Apis bull is executed by the government bulls of CBP, or Customs and Border Protection, which falls under the jurisdiction of the Department of Homeland Security. And again, there's no danger for wetbacks, because these government bulls don't want to get their fancy looking impressive uniforms to get wet and soaked. So here we can see more clear that this is a V of the Templars. This is octagon, or the single V of the Apis bull. It's all the same thing. So from a distance it's much clearer to see, really. And this is why in German they call a cop ein Bulle, or a bull. It's the same word. A word not chosen by the people, but the Pharisocracy themselves. And because Apis, the bull of the pharaohs, is the god of strength who defends the empire. and it's octagon. The hieroglyph of the Apis bull and god of strength of the pharaohs are two reversed V's as the logo of the French car. We can see that here. This is what it is. The two reversed V's. I tried to zoom into that one. That's the official hieroglyph of Apis. So this one here. This is Apis. So here we can see the Apis, the official Apis hieroglyph again. Here it is. This is Apis. And sometimes it's defined a bit differently. And there it is again, the official Apis hieroglyph, like on the French car. And in many agencies and government things and Templars, they use only one, because this is a symbol of strength, like the police and the army and you know, all over. And through the royal bloodline, the per-a, of the fair aristocracy, it survived thousands of years, as they went to Greece first, and the Spartans had the reversed V on their shields. So this is in fact the correct way to have it, and not upside down. This is not correct because it's all from the Apis bull, and this is like when you're conquered and lying on the ground with your legs in the air. Then they founded Rome, and the fair aristocracy integrated the reverse V in many a coat of arms in Europe. And it became one of the symbols of the Templars, who control all armies and all octagon police of the world. This is why we find it on tanks and choppers of Pharaoh's armies. Like here on this US Apache, we find it here. There it is. I'll try to enhance it. There it is. The Templar symbol. This is part of Apis, the power of strength. And there it is again on the US tank in Iraq. It's the same thing really, it's all pharaonic. The Spartans had it, and it's half the Apis hieroglyph. And why only half? I'll explain that to you. So this tank and the other armor might be the god of strength. Police, army, the homeland security, it's all over. Now why only one V, you might ask? Well, here it is on the US Treasury Department. Because the Apis god is also the god of fertility, money, fertility and strength, power over other people. So why is only one? I'll explain that to you. Well, that's because the double V of Apis can only be applied in the motherland at the River Nile under specific conditions laid down in the Book of Books. The pharaohs never disappeared and became the aristocracy, or in fact, aristocracy is the name for the royal pharaonic bloodline, and they became the Masons, hiding in the New World Order. And the Old World Order is the feudal aristocracy through the reign of kings and queens. So only when the mission is really accomplished then the double V can be shown. And so Advanced Passenger Information System Apis, the pharaonic bull god of strength, was chosen because Pharaoh rules under the Prince of Darkness, Seth or Sethon, also called Saton or Satan. So Apis, the bull god, is a symbol of the pharaonic strength and power of the empire, which the 9/11 scam brought forth into full deployment, and another disguised sign for the worldwide aristocracy to increase Pharaoh's grip on the human race. The message has been given out.